Hello students and welcome to the e-learning program initiated by Shri Gyanmanjari Vidyapith for the students of Standard 9 in which we are learning the subject of English. Students, from the previous lecture we started with revision of supplementary reader, that is Moments, chapter number 2. So let us go ahead. This is revision lecture number 9 for chapter number 2 of the uh, supplementary reader, that is Moments. Name of the chapter is Adventures of Toto, written by Ruskin Bond. Let's take a quick recap of what we have learned in the previous lecture for this chapter as part of the revision. This chapter is authored by Ruskin Bond. He is an Anglo-Indian, that means born to British parents and staying and settled in India. Uh, he lives in Dehradun. He has spent his childhood and schooled in Dehradun, and he writes over here his experiences during his childhood regarding uh, keeping monkey as a pet in his home. So lots of description is there. In this revision work we are going to focus on the descriptive parts where lots of description is given. These descriptions, they allow you to have a more insight in the language. It allows you to learn about how to describe, say, events, how to describe some happening, how to describe some episodes, description of characters, uh, on the whole from the chapter. What do we understand about the character of the person? So these things we are going to dwell upon in this revision work. So from the starting of the chapter, if we see, the first description that comes to in front of us is how was Toto acquired by the grandfather. So grandfather had seen that a Tonga driver had tied that small little monkey, baby monkey, to the feeding trough that it had beneath its Tonga. Feeding trough is where they keep grass, water, etc. for the horse. Tonga is the Godagadi, right? So the Tonga driver. Now just look at the scene. It's quite good. Horse, horse carriage, the carriage driver. In plain words, Goda Gadi, or Goda Gadi Wala, and the monkey was not fitting in the scene. So that struck out to the grandfather that unnecessarily the monkey is being roamed all around the town without any reason, right? And it's quite young, and if tamed it can become a good pet. So uh, grandfather bought the little monkey from the Tonga driver for a sum of rupees 5. So this is the description of how grandfather acquired Toto. Toto is the little monkey from the Tonga driver. Now, now comes the second description. The second description is how was Toto kept in the house. Now, problem here is grandmother always got irritated because grandfather kept on bringing uh, different animals, and he had a private zoo. He had so many animals in the house that it looked as if it was a private zoo. So all different sort of animals he used to keep over there. We have already learned the chapter, so we know a donkey was there, a tortoise was there, two rabbits were there, even a goat was there, and on top of that now a monkey also comes over there. So grandmother got irritated by this habit of grandfather of bringing home animals and keeping them in the house, because after all she's the lady of the house and she has to take care and look after the animals also. So apart from the household work that she has to take care of, now this is a sort of burden. So right now problem is you have to keep it secret from grandmother until we find some good mood and uh, we disclose the matter to grandmother that a monkey is there and now it's going to stay with us. So till that time the monkey has to be kept hidden. So now comes the second scene. How was monkey kept secretly in the house, right? So that description is also quite vivid and colorful, that the monkey was kept in the author's room, bedroom. Author at that time was a schoolboy, right? So he had his own room, and in that room there was a closet. Closet is made inside the wall, and there is a door which is in line with the wall, right? So he was kept in the closet, and in that closet was a peg. There might be a steel nail, big one, or a wooden peg that is hammered in the wall. So Toto was tied to the peg, and the door of the closet was closed, and they would return after some few hours. So after a few hours when they returned, the door of the closet was wide open, and uh, the plaster had come off. So grandfather had selected some beautifully designed wallpaper and stuck over there, so it will very cleverly hide the plaster which had come off. And because bricks were seen, plaster and bricks both were seen, so in order to hide that, grandfather had selected a very good wallpaper and stuck that on the wall. That wallpaper was shed to pieces by the monkey. He was angry inside, right? So he didn't like it inside. Inside it's dark, and he didn't want to stay in some captivated area where it's quite dark. Yes, these young ones, they get quite irritated and agitated when they are uh, kept in such manner. So the first loss is all the wallpaper was torn to pieces, and now you can see the plaster which has come off, and you can see the naked bricks. Next is uh, because the author was going to school at the time, he was quite young, so he had his school blazer hung inside in a hanger. That school blazer was completely torn to pieces. And the third one, because the small little monkey got very angry and agitated, he kept on pulling the rope with which he was tied to the peg. He pulled so hard that whole of the peg had come out of the wall, and the monkey had opened the closet. He ran away with the rope tied to his neck and the peg hanging over there. He had escaped. So the author, he was very sad because the wallpaper, beautiful wallpaper, was in pieces. Next, his school uniform blazer was also in pieces, and then he was worried about what to say about all this to grandmother, because now he is going to get scolding because he has lost his blazer. But on the other side, we see that grandfather is very happy. He's quite happy. He doesn't look at the nuisance created by the monkey, because as far as the nature of the monkey is concerned, grandfather is happy because the monkey has turned true to his nature. He is naughty, he is mischievous, and he behaves like a true monkey. So he says his development or progress is quite good. Yes, he is a monkey for sure, and we are going to have a little bit of trouble, but he is prepared for it. So grandfather is still on the positive side. Next, the next day, grandfather was supposed to go to Saharanpur to collect his pension. So this is the next description, that how Toto, because Toto cannot be kept at home, because still it was not disclosed to grandmother that a monkey is present in the house. So grandfather had to take Toto with him from Dehradun by train to Saharanpur. To carry him along, a big black colored canvas bag was taken. So Toto, and at the bottom of the canvas bag some straw was kept and Toto was kept in it, and it was tied from the top. The canvas bag was tied on the from the top. So now what happens again? He is inside. It's quite dark. So when grandfather took him to the Dehradun railway station and was waiting for the train on the platform, he put the black bag on the railway platform where he was sitting next to it. He kept the bag, but lots of people gathered around, and they were curious because the bag was jumping on its own. Actually, it's that little monkey jumping in inside the bag and wants to come out, but it's not able to come out. Plus the canvas bag, the canvas material is very thick. So what happens is he is trying to make a hole and tear apart the bag. He is not successful at that because the canvas material is quite thick and he is just a small little monkey, so he cannot bore a hole over there and tear and come out. So he keeps jumping inside the bag and whole of the bag is jumping on its own. So that made lots of curious spectators come and stand over there and watching the scene of the bag jumping on its own and sometimes rolling. So this is also a description about what happened on the railway station of Dehradun. We do not have details about the whole of the journey from Dehradun to Saharanpur, but at Saharanpur, grandfather got down from the train and he is supposed to go out of the railway station. Now we all know that when you go out of the railway station after completing a journey, a ticket collector is always there standing and checking your tickets, whether you journeyed free without taking tickets or you bought a ticket and you journeyed. So he was checking the ticket of grandfather, and at the same time the bag was on the shoulder and popped out the monkey's face. The ticket collector was at once quite shocked and shaken because he was seeing the face of a monkey, but it is his job, so he didn't reveal or didn't remain in a shocked state for long because it's so natural, it's an animal, right? And he was just trying to make out what type of animal this is. And he told the grandfather that, sir, you are carrying a dog, please show the ticket that you have taken for the pet dog of yours. Now the grandfather says this is not a dog because in railway, cats and dogs, they are classified as pets, other animals are not. So if you are carrying a dog or a cat, then you have to take a ticket. Now this is not a dog or cat, so I haven't taken a ticket. So grandfather is trying to argue with him that this is not a dog. He doesn't even qualify as a quadruped. Quadruped having four legs, for example tiger, a lion, a donkey, a horse, all of them, they walk on four legs. They are not called forelimbs and hind limbs like hands and legs, but all four are called legs, and that is what makes them quadruped. Now monkey doesn't qualify as quadruped because he works the forelimbs as hands. Just like human beings, they eat with the forelimbs, they make use of the forelimbs as hands. So it doesn't qualify the monkey as a quadruped. So grandfather was arguing that if you are classifying this animal as a dog, then this doesn't qualify as a quadruped also. But now authority at the end is the ticket collector, and he has declared that this is a dog, and he didn't listen to the arguments of grandfather, and he said you have to pay a fine because from Dehradun to Saharanpur this dog has traveled without ticket, so you have to pay a fine of total ₹3. So the grandfather of course can't do anything against the authority, so he pays a sum of ₹3 to the ticket collector for carrying the monkey. Now grandfather is very angry, and to get even with the ticket collector, he produces the tortoise which he had brought in his pocket, and he puts that tortoise, it's small one, so he puts it in his palm and offers the palm to the ticket collector to check. So grandfather says, now since you are finding a monkey because taking it as a dog, and you have fined me 3 rupees qualifying a monkey as a dog. So please tell me, I am carrying this other animal also. Now, does this animal qualify as a dog? Because if you qualify this animal as a dog, then I have to pay for him, because this tortoise has also traveled with me from Dehradun to Saharanpur. Now, the ticket checker is quite clever, and he pokes the tortoise with his finger. We know as soon as we try to touch the tortoise, it withdraws its 4 limbs inside its shell, and also pulls back its neck and head also inside the shell, and we cannot do anything because whole of the animal is inside the shell. And that is how ticket collector, he very proudly declares that this is not a dog, because a dog when touched cannot pull back its legs inside its body, it cannot pull back its neck and its head inside its body. So this one is doing it, so this one is not a dog, and it doesn't come under our rules and regulations. So you can take the animal, it does not require any ticket. So whole of this thing is a description of what happened on the railway station of this Saharanpur city. Next, grandmother was then told about Toto, and Toto was now declared as a pet, and he was kept with the other animals, but he didn't let any of those animals in the cage sleep at night. We are told about some of the episodes which are quite descriptive and quite active, so we should remember the description and try to put it in our own words. For example, the description where Toto is having a bath with warm water. Now, every day he has seen the author take a bath in the bathtub. So these are cold places, so once in a while grandmother would give him a treat of having a bath with warm water. So a tub was filled with warm water and given to Toto to have a bath. So he would imitate whatever the author did. Author was also a child at that time, so he would imitate what the author did. Author first touched the water with his finger to know the temperature, whether it's warm, good enough for bath, or it should not be hot, otherwise we'll get burned. So same thing is done by the monkey Toto. He touches the water with his finger to check the temperature. Then he has seen the child put one leg slowly into the water, second leg slowly into the water, and slowly sitting down in the water up till neck deep. So the monkey would also do the same. First it would touch the water with his finger to check the temperature, that it is warm enough, it won't boil him, burn him. So then he would put first leg inside, then the second leg, and then slowly submerge himself in the water till neck deep. For a little while he used to enjoy the warm water. Yes, and then just as the author, the small boy, did, he would take a soap and he would scrub himself with the soap and have lots of foam, and he used to enjoy his bath. But what happened is, after a little time, that warm water, it's not hot, it was warm water, so in that cold the warm water will lose its heat and become cold. So when the water become cold, now Toto will feel cold, so he used to jump out of the water and run towards the kitchen where there will always be fire, and stand in front of the fire. So this is the episode where he enjoys the bath with warm water, and then what happens after it. This is also quite a wonderful description and can be written in our own words. Now this is where up till here we learnt about the previous lecture. Let us go ahead with today's lecture. If anyone laughed at him during this performance, Toto's feelings would be hurt. So he's not like other animals. Monkey, he's clever, he has lots of intelligence, his IQ level is also quite higher than the other animals. He very very well he can express his feelings and emotions. That is what we are concerned about over here. That during the entire episode of jumping from the bathtub and running into the kitchen and shivering over there, he stands in front of the fire. If someone laughs at him, he immediately gets hurt and he shows his feelings and emotions very strongly. He will then, even if you take him to the bathtub and ask him to, say, you have given him some fresh water and then ask him again to have a bath, he will refuse because you laughed at him. You made fun of him, right? So these are the sentiments of the monkey which are coming alive and expressed very well by the small little monkey, that he won't allow anyone to laugh at him, to make fun of him, and if someone does, then he will refuse to have a bath altogether. Next time he is not going to enter the bathtub even if fresh warm water is given to him. He would refuse to go on with his bath. Now we have another episode also which has lots of good description and which you can write on your own. One day Toto nearly succeeded in boiling himself alive. Now we know these are the cold parts, and throughout the day if you are in the shade, then suppose you are in the house, you are not in the open in the sun, then you will feel cold inside. Once you are standing in the sun, because of the warmth of the sun you might feel a little bit warm, but once you are in a shade you will feel cold, because these are quite the Himalayan parts and they are quite cold even during the day, and nights are especially cold even in the summer season also. So here usually what happens in the kitchen, on the fire, you'll always find a huge kettle kept over there, and the water will be kept over there to keep on staying warm, or it can boil also, because that same water is used for multiple way of doing quite a lot of things. For example, the same water is used for drinking purpose, the same water can be used for cleaning purpose, the scrubbing, mopping, whatever household work has to be done, it has to be done with warm water, because temperature of the water becomes quite low and you cannot work with cold water. So whether it is washing, cleaning or drinking, you need warm water. So there will always be a huge kettle on the fire. Whenever the fire doesn't have any other work, it's just burning idly, then the kettle will be kept and the water will keep on boiling, so that whenever you need it you can have it. So one day grandmother had kept that huge kettle on the fire, and she had just kept the cold water to become warm. At that time nobody else was in the kitchen, and bhai sahab pahunch jate, the Toto, and he opens the lid of the kettle and touches the water with his finger to know the temperature, and for him that is warm water. So he doesn't have that knowledge that the human beings are going to use it for drinking purpose, bathing purpose, or say cleaning purpose, whatever, that he shouldn't spoil the water. So for him, for us it's a huge kettle, but for him it's even a huge kettle, because he can fully submerge himself in the kettle. So he does exactly that, because nobody else is in the kitchen. He touches the water, finds it warm, and decides to have a bath. So again we have that one foot inside, then the second foot inside, and then he submerges in the kettle, the neck above, and is enjoying that warm water. Till then everything is quite okay. But then we should remember that huge kettle was on fire, was kept on the fire. So slowly temperature of the water rises, and now it is not warm but it has become hot. Now the hottest part will be the bottom of the kettle, and because the kettle is made out of metal, so outside also whole of the kettle will become quite hot. So now Toto wants to get out So he has to put his feet on the bottom to jump out. Now bottom he can't touch because it's quite heavy, and once he pops out his head, outside it is cold, so he again goes inside the kettle. So that up and down went on for quite a long time, and he would have boiled himself to death if grandmother hadn't come there by chance. Grandmother came into the kitchen by chance and saw the monkey popping up and down in that hot boiling water, and hurled and threw that monkey out of the water. So grandmother actually saved Toto's life. If grandmother hadn't come inside the kitchen the correct moment, then God knows what would have happened to Toto. He might have got boiled in the hot water. So this is an episode where lots of description can be given. Uh, he continued hopping up and down for some time until grandmother arrived and hurled him half boiled out of the kettle. If there is a part, now we come to another episode. If there is a part in Toto's brain which has largely developed, and that largely developed part is where he is quite mischievous, he is quite naughty, devoted to mischief, then that part has largely developed in Toto. He was always tearing things to pieces. Now he is a smart monkey, plus he is a naughty monkey, he is a mischievous monkey, and on top of that it's still a baby, right? So it doesn't understand the value of the things that he is breaking. He doesn't understand the value or worth of the things that he is tearing down to pieces. He might see a paper, he tears it. He loves that sound of tearing, and he loves tearing the big piece, whatever it is, into small pieces, whether it's cutlery or whether it's some uh, paper, maybe it's clothes, maybe bed sheet, pillow cover. And these monkeys love the pillow like anything because it's soft and it wants to know what is inside, so it will tear the pillow and take out all the cotton, and then it will enjoy that cotton flying in the air. So he does lots of damage. So one example is given to you, that when aunts, now this is a family household, so relatives will be on and off coming to the household, maybe for food or just by passing by and come to meet. So lots of aunts came. Yes, from a father's side, mother's side, aunts came. So whenever some aunt came or somebody came to meet, Toto will try to catch the dress and try to poke his finger and make a hole in it and then tear apart that dress. So you will find lots of screaming inside the household. If somebody from outside has come, Toto was always bent on trying to tear the dress or the sari. So people will stay away from the household, they are afraid, right? And for Toto that's a mischief, but that scares the people who come from outside. So he made every effort to get hold of the auntie's dress and tear a hole in it. One day at lunchtime, so guests had come, or family members from outside had come, and all of them had decided to have the lunch together, and the dining table inside was being readied, the glass and cutlery all in position, and a very big plate of rice was kept in the center of the table. Pulao was made, special dish was made, rice dish was made, delicacy, and they were supposed to enjoy it. But when everybody entered the dining area, they saw Bhai Sahib Toto sitting in the center, the whole of the rice plate in his lap, and he was stuffing the rice in his mouth. That made everyone angry, especially grandmother. She gave out a scream when she saw the scene. Yes, the food which was made for the whole family and the guests that had arrived from outside, now the monkey had completely spoiled it. Now, once it is eaten by monkey, who is going to eat it, right? So the monkey had spoiled the food, and grandmother screamed with anger, and that made the monkey also angry, because it takes as somebody is disturbing me during my lunch, or somebody is trying to take away my lunch. So he threw a dish from the table towards grandmother. One of the aunt became brave and tried to rush forward to save the rice plate, and she received a full glass of water, a glass full of water on her face. Then grandfather arrived. Grandfather was a figure to be scared of. Yes, even the monkey, small little monkey, knew that the only person who can control him is grandfather. He should be afraid of grandfather. So as soon as grandfather came inside, Toto ran away from the room through the window. He jumped out of the window. But he jumped out of the window with that rice plate in his hand. Must be a tree, must be near the jackfruit tree was there nearby. So he jumped onto that jackfruit tree and went as high as he can, climbed as high as he can on the jackfruit tree, and whole of the afternoon he sat over there. We can see him from the window and trying to finish off each and every grain from that rice plate. So whole of the afternoon he made each and every person angry by looking at them and eating from the plate. Now he had cleared the plate, and grandmother was the first one to scream at him. So in order to annoy grandmother, what he does is he throws the glass plate from the top of the tree. Now you know what happens. It breaks into 100 pieces. The noise of the glass plate, that is that rice plate, shattering to 100 pieces, it gives him immense joy, because this is the revenge he has taken on the grandmother, because grandmother screamed on him, right? He wanted to take a revenge. In order to get even, he deliberately threw the rice plate from the top of the tree onto ground. It must have hit several branches, and by the time it came to the ground, it got broke into 100 pieces, and the sound of the rice plate breaking into 100 pieces gives him immense joy, lots of fun, and he takes his revenge on grandmother for screaming at him. So this was the episode where he runs away with the rice plate. Now we come to the last paragraph of the chapter. Here we see that the little monkey it's naughty, it's mischievous. That can be understood because that's the nature of the monkey. But then by his mischief and naughtiness, he's causing lots of damage in the house. He's always breaking things. He's always tearing apart clothes. Maybe that is the curtain, whether that's bed sheet, it's that pillow cover or the pillow itself. It runs behind guests and tries to tear away their clothes. So rather than mischief or naughtiness, now the level reached is unbearable. Yes, this is not a poor household, but not that much well-to-do where it can afford such a lot of damage in the household, right? They are not that much well-to-do that they can allow the small monkey to do so much damage, right? So the damage done by the monkey is above their expenditure, and they decided to do away with the monkey, to sell it to or give it to somebody else, right? And want to give away the pet. They don't want to keep the monkey. So this last paragraph is a very good description. Obviously Toto was not the sort of pet we could keep for long. Even grandfather now realized that. Up till now grandfather was allowing the mischiefs and naughtiness, thinking that when it grows up, the mischiefs and naughtiness will slow down and we'll have a good pet with us, right? But now he accepted, he realized that this is not going to happen, and we were not that much well-to-do that we can afford all the damage that is done by the monkey, the frequent loss of dishes, that is cutlery, clothes, curtains, wallpaper. Now we can't, every time we have to buy new, and that is beyond the scope of our finance. So it was decided that Toto has to be given back. So who is going to take him back? So the grandfather found out the same Tonga driver from whom he had bought the monkey, and the Tonga driver also accepted the monkey, but now he's not going to pay 5 rupees for the monkey, because that was what was given by grandfather. He said 3, but grandfather was more than happy to receive 3 rupees. Actually he was at a loss of 2 rupees, but then he wanted to get rid of the monkey. So 3 rupees here is not a matter of question, right? The matter of question over here is getting rid of the monkey. So 3 rupees, okay, you just take back the monkey. So grandfather found the Tonga driver and sold Toto back to him just for rupees 3. Now we were talking about description, so let us take a question. It's already given with you. We are here trying to understand. Toto was a pretty monkey. So now you have to explain the prettiness of the monkey, how the author tells him pretty. Toto was pretty in its features, in its physical features. For example, it had bright, shiny eyes, sparkling with mischief beneath the deep set. Deep set is the socket, eye socket, that empty hole in the skull. Yes? So, the deep set eyebrows. Now comes the description of the teeth. The teeth which were pearl white. Teeth, because it's a young one, so the teeth are going to be quite shiny, right? So they are compared with pearl. Pearl is white, so pearl-like white teeth. And with that pearl white teeth, he used to give a big broad smile to Anglo-Indian ladies, and Anglo-Indian ladies, because they are not accustomed to monkeys, because monkeys are not found in England, so they are not accustomed to this type of animal, and they get frightened, scared, and they'll frighten the life out of elderly Anglo-Indian ladies. And now we come to fingers. Fingers, they are small, but they are very agile, they are very quick, and they are wicked also. Wicked in that sense that it will always try to work when your eyes are not on that thing. Suppose the monkey, it's looking elsewhere, but the fingers are working in some other direction, and it will scoop up something that it doesn't want you to notice. So that way, quite wicked, cunning. And its tail. The tail of the monkey is the most beautiful part, right? Because it works as a third hand. It can hang on the branch with the help of its tail, and where his hands can't reach, because the tail is quite long, so it will scoop up some delicacies from the table where its hand cannot reach, and that way the tail is quite useful for him, and it also adds to the beauty of the animal. So this is the description of Toto. Now how does Toto take a bath? That we have already discussed, right? Still, a large bowl of warm water was given to Toto for his bath. He would cunningly test the temperature first of the water before stepping into the bowl. He would then gradually step into the bowl one by one, and once comfortable inside, he would take soap and water, and he would rub it all over himself, because he saw the same thing being done by the author. He would take the soap and rub all over himself using the hands or his feet. When the water became cold, he would get out and run quickly to the kitchen in order to dry himself and make him warm again. Toto had learned to do this by watching very carefully what the author did during his time of taking a bath. So students, please read the chapter again and again, so that you are aware of all the incidents, all the events, all the happenings, all the description, so that when the question is asked, you can reply it in your own words, but none of the descriptive parts are missed. You should always keep in mind that all the descriptive parts, whether you answer on your own, but it should be there in the answer. So this is the completion of the revision of chapter number 2, the adventures of Toto, and the completion of today's lecture also. Thank you, students.